Another moment to delve into the lives of our favorite celebrities and glean insights from their day-to-day businesses is here. And I welcome you to Celeb Biz with all the warmth and joy. My name, as always, is Amele Josu, aka Samniwa. And my guest today, I call him a brother, but hey, he's that special to me. You may know him for many reasons, but look, he is the footstool bearer of Odoman Kumanyankupong, the writer Ken who sips communion wine from the calabash. He's that hot metal that has been hammered on the anvils of time. He's the gossip who's carried by the four winds over the seven seas. I'm talking about none other. I mean, you wonder, who is that making me wax all poetic and lyrical? Yeah, I'm talking about none other than the nephew of Omama Kwejebi, Philip Boachidi-Oyinka, popularly known as Nana Asase, is my guest today. Nana.
Yes, my dear.
Good to see you.
It's so good to have you here.
Man,
so good to see you.
Was it trying to, get all that to commit to? I mean, committing all that to memory is not easy.
Thank you very much.
But it's always a vibe hanging out with you. I always look forward to that.
Thank you so much. It makes you appreciate what you do so much.
I know, right? It's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. But for those of us who may, I know you beyond poetry, but for some, they believe that all there is to Nana Asase is him being a poet, seeing him on stage, performing. But I know you do more than that. Today, that's what I want us to delve into.
Okay.
Your other businesses. So, beyond poetry, what else does Nana Asase do?
Thank you very much, and welcome to Asase Inscriptions.
Thank you.
So, beyond poetry, I do poetry. Poetry has become a tool to do so many other things.
Okay.
I have this agency background coming from PR, advertising, marketing, all of that. Good. When I'm not doing poetry, sometimes I get the chance to shoot documentaries for those who would like us to do this. I do voiceovers, we do subtitling, we do localization of content, we proofread, we edit, I teach. I teach literature, I teach English, I teach Chi. I teach indigenous knowledge. When I'm not doing any of these things, I run a cultural consultancy. So as a cultural consultant, what do? People want to learn indigenous knowledge. We go into storytelling. We take our time and do research for people. We script cultural concepts to be embedded in events. Or sometimes we handle the whole cultural aspect of an event. So you are having a conference for a multinational group, so you're receiving people from different parts of the world. How do we give them a Ghana treat? How do we give them a cultural immersion? Get in touch with us. We will let you know how to put these packages together. When I'm not doing all of that, I run a network of cultural troops. When I'm not doing any of that, if you're looking for the best smokes, get in touch with me. If you want to find the best ahenema, get in touch with me. By virtue of being in the cultural space, I have my hands in
all these things.
I know where to find the best of these things. You're looking for carvings, get in touch. We know where to find the best of these things by virtue of the practice. So when I'm not doing poetry, I'm still doing poetry. I have been Ochiame for a lot of people's marriages. I've been linguist for a lot of these things. I've conducted naming ceremonies for experts who are coming in. These are all things that we do that a lot of people might not know. I've emceed events. I still MC events. People might not know these things. So when I'm not on stage, these are some of the things that I do. And of course, if somebody wants to learn the craft of poetry itself,
you're willing to teach.
I'm glad I do. I teach this. I organize creative writer workshops. When I'm not here, sometimes you're invited to other countries to facilitate workshops or be part of a festival, performance or consultation, research. Sometimes we have influence policy, because when I'm not into my regular 8 to 5, I'm the secretary of Ghana's National Folklore Board. So on that bit as well, I'm part of the technical team for Ghana UNESCO collaboration on intangible cultural heritage. So I do a lot in the cultural space.
Juggling so many roles.
A lot of work.
I mean, how many languages do you speak?
I speak the Akans. I speak Chi. I speak Fanti. I speak Equiapim. I mean Asante Chi, Fanti, Asante, a bit of French. I speak English and a lot of Pidgin.
Okay. A lot of Pidgin.
A lot of Pidgin.
On top of that, impeccable English.
Oh, Charlie.
I thought of asking because of the part you play when it comes to engagement ceremonies and marriage, because you have to be
definitely
quite versatile with these
that.
languages.
One key thing is, anytime you're facing an audience that does not speak all of the languages that you speak, find out who is going to be there. So there's something I teach my students, I call audience research. So before I show up at your event, I need to know who and who would be there.
Yeah.
So that I'll be politically correct, culturally correct, whichever way, I need to be correct.
You tick all the boxes.
So if there's a Frenchman in there and I get in with my bonjours and all of that, if there's Spanish
just to break the ice.
Just to break the ice. Because when you speak a man's language, you're speaking to his soul. They are comfortable with you. Everything else you say will go in. Just because you spoke a line of his language, it makes them feel at ease. Yeah, so you need to do your audience research.
I know you've been doing this poetry thing for more than a decade.
Yeah.
Before that, you had a regular job you were doing, the corporate side, which was, I think, PR, right? Yes. So, just to ask, what was that moment that made you reconsider your choices and decide that, no, I want to do poetry, let me start my own thing on the side?
Wow.
All the jobs you listed, they fall under Asase inscriptions, right? That's your company. So what was that moment that made you decide to go into your own thing and start your own business?
Okay. So it didn't start with wanting to start my own business.
Okay.
It started with me resigning, not knowing where I was going. I felt poetry was calling me to go do something. You know the devotion of a newfound lover, the way it goes, waxing so strong, a new devotee, with gestures and all of that. For some people, it dies with time. For others, it threatens to improve with time. Mine hasn't died. So, 11 years ago, this is my 11th year full time. I stepped out of agency. I felt the edge so strong because we do our regular 8 to 5. Our employers do their best to make sure that we're living that. Otherwise, you realize you're in a loop.
Yeah.
You're in a loop. At a point, it gets boring. As a
So
creative,
monotonous.
you feel underutilized because you feel there's so much more
You can do.
that you can do. You want a bit more of the outdoor. You want to be talking to people, engaging people, inquiring, because you're curious by nature.
Yeah.
Right, and I realized that PR was great. That environment was great. Let me give credit to Global Media Alliance for giving me that platform, that space to work, in the team. It also brought out my strength, with my creative work, writing, performing, and all of these. There was one month, we had gone deep into the month, and sometimes agencies delay. Charlie, we've not been paid. Everybody is. At the time, I think my boss was on leave. I was the only guy in the PR team. There were 4 ladies. I was the only one stuck in there, and that was when I had some of, very reflective moments. I started thinking, because when I'm writing minutes, I'm writing poetry and cutting it out. I'm writing a press release and I plug in, say, Mariam Akiba's Pata Pata, and, I'm working, and I realize my art is even getting, right there in the front of my work. And so one day, Mr. Edward Boateng, Ambassador Edward Boateng, God bless him, Ghana's former ambassador to China, he was my boss. He called me. I don't know what, he just walked into the general pool and called me out. So we went to sit in the boardroom. I was like, Philip, you see, whichever field you choose to enter, there's something called doing time. After you have done time, it turns around to pay you. That was what, he told me. I don't know where he got there, but to just call me out.
You and tell you that.
We just spent time, and I was with him, and I kept that, at the back of my head, right? So there was an event where the Ochihne was supposed to be. I was an mentalist event, so I got the invitation. So I decided I was going to go at break time. I had exactly an hour's break time to drive from Jowood, get to Labadi. I was at the Trade Fair Center, deliver, and come back to the office. That's how I was going to spend my break.
Yeah.
So I was going to fast that afternoon. I was like, okay, as PR for a lot of media houses by virtue of working with Media Alliance, I was like, God, if you're really bringing me this gig, don't let any of my outlets come and cover this. Because it had its own implications. Look, so I went for this performance. I think that was the second time I met Ochihne.
Okay.
Delivered, hands down. I got paid. Let me say it here today. Charlie, look, that gig paid me about 3 times what my
regular job was paying.
regular, would have done. So I came back to the office. True to that prayer, none of my outlets came to cover. So I sat there and I realized, okay,
that was a sign.
look, if I give my art that attention, it could become my mainstay.
Yeah.
Coupled with what my boss, and mentor had told me, that the two started coming together. So long hours of being at home, spending meditation time, literally, Sarah, I could look onto any wall, any blank space, and see writings on the wall that you will not see, or hear things you won't hear, because my senses are open to receive, from the divine for the things that I do.
It's a calling, sort of.
It is. Yeah. So I felt that moment of being at home not working was preparation for me. Because whatever call you're called to, just like Ambassador Boateng said, it's a tough call. Doing time is tough. Marking time is tough. Being a recruit is tough. So you become an officer. So you finally pass out, and then you feel proud. Wow, I've given myself to a discipline, and now it's paying off. So that was it for me. And so when I started performances, I was with Fapimpong again. We didn't have a car. We had been invited to an event. I won't mention the client's event. We were supposed to perform 2 slots. Car traffic wahala. We got in and our first slot was gone. So second slot.
You just have to kill it.
And unknowing to us, my man had told himself, I will never give these people an opportunity again.
Wow.
Because apparently it cost him a lot with the client. But after a while, he called me one day. He said, sit down. Can I tell you something? Do not self-destruct because of things you have control over. I said, okay. So I have control over the time that I can get to an event. I can get there early. So I made the personal practice now. When I'm coming for your event, Charlie, I'm there ahead of time. Or my team is there. Once my team is there, it simply means we're here. So these were some of the precepts that shaped our service culture, or my service culture, or my performance culture as a person. I respect people. I work with these cultural truths, for instance. You go for events. One of the major challenges I face half the time when I'm working with event organizers, I'm like, my people, musicians are artists. These drummers are artists. Poets are artists. You want to bring a musician to an event, so you give him a VIP holding area. Fantastic. But you bring these drummers, maybe I'm bringing you 7 or 8 mature people, and you want them to change in a washroom, a corridor, or some dusty office. Please, we are sorry. We won't do it.
I mean, just touch on an issue. I mean, I had in mind to, ask about that. The whole disrespect that some creatives have complained about.
Very disrespectful. We can't bring our changing room from our office or from our house to the event. So it's only proper that you've contacted us to do something for you. Half the time, these musicians will mime or give you content that, they've replicated so many times. But we're bringing you live, fresh content. Half the time, we're opening your show. If it drops, what happens? The energy of the show drops. 3, they only come to cover the big man's speech when the media shows up. They don't even cover the art that lightens up the event. So the little you can do for us is to show some respect.
And treat them right,
See, listen to the intricate rhythms that we play for Kitty. We have about 2 or 3 variations of Kitty. The intricacies of those rhythms. If you are not smart, you can't play those rhythms.
I think that brings us to
give me a physics professor, give me a mathematics professor, give me anybody who says artists are daft. Let's give him a simple test. He won't play, he'll just be playing bells. Just bells, sorry. As people say, just bells. And let's see how he fares. You see, everything is important. So at the Rokufi, the bell is like the foundations you build or the principles you hold on to in life. So all the music is life, all the troop, everything we do is life. So it's a bell that keeps us in check and order. When you walk, you need coordination. That is what the bell offers to you. You see, so these are people who really carry a big part of our culture. When we receive visitors from the whole world, what do? We call these people to come play for us. Yet we do not respect them. So I really cherish people. There are people who have worked with me for as long as 11 years. When you ask them, maybe you should ask them. I won't say it. And it's just because of the relationship that we have built. And we have. I have very good relationship with my former employers. All these names I called are people I can go to, or you can go to cross-check. Having worked with them, and they have really impacted me. So I'm really grateful to all these people who have given me that opportunity, to get to this point. There are people who can give you honest feedback. Sir, this was not good. The way you spoke was off. Next time, check the costume or the music or this. Not just people who want to deride what you're doing. Constructive criticism. If you're not ready for criticism, you shouldn't be doing the things you do. Definitely there are people who have gone ahead of you who should offer advice, who can offer advice to you. So it's important that while you work, you should have people who have gone ahead. Call them mentors, people you can defer to, call them
to
fathers
guide you
and
through.
mothers. This morning I was blessed to have two of my mothers visit me, and they come to share meaningful insights with you. Always make sure you have these people. In the poem Song of the Twin Brother, Professor Kofi Anido, who wrote to the late Professor Awuno, he says, Achwe, Achwe, do not forget the back, without which there is no front. End of my story.
Before we delve into Asase inscriptions and all that you do, I mean, you touched on the whole issue between the arts and sciences, the disrespect and everything. You talked about how you insist on getting things right for all the people you work with. Some have blamed creatives for that treatment that's meted out to them, talking about the fact that we don't package, or let me say carry ourselves in that light to be respected. Do you also believe same, and what can be done to change this perception in society that mostly says, oh, probably creatives are not serious people, they like joking, you can't take them serious, they don't deserve a huge remuneration and the likes?
Sarah, when you're receiving heads of state from different parts of the world and we are playing the front on front, do we look like funny people?
No.
And the dancers are moving their limbs, do they look like people who do not know what they are doing?
No.
Thank you. And so in every group you would have a leader, right? So when I work with my group, at that point you would meet me. I might be the interface, or somebody else might be there. I feel not all these people, especially in the cultural performance space, might have had the privilege of too much formal education or have access to some of the spaces that people who look down on them might have had. Do you get my point? But they have something you do not have. They have that power of creativity, which is given to them. Do you get my point? I would encourage my people. I always encourage my people. Let's put ourselves together in a very organized manner. Let us have leadership. So that I need you for an event. How much will you take? Let's have somebody who does that interfacing, who understands the language of customers, who can do that for us.
More like having business people to front.
Have business people to do these things for you. I think it makes people take you a bit more seriously. You have your videos that you can show to clients and say, look, we have done these things. We have pictures. We have this event. We have that event. In a more organized manner. 3, openini bu baby cherry. Oh, you're looking gorgeous. Let that outfit be ripped by a nail. Immediately you realize that the wearer's confidence dips. Nobody lives in these plush hotels. We go to work in these fancy office buildings, yet we go home. And so aside everything we do, we also go home to families, just like everybody else goes home to families. So if your family deserves something that is good, our families deserve things that are good too. If you deserve anything that is good, the other person deserves what is good. Manager, if your cleaner does not come to the office to clean that space, it will not look good enough for you to come and use. You'd be spending productive office hours having to come and do that in addition to all the work that you do that you consider more important than getting the washroom cleaned. Yet when you are distressed and you walk into the washroom and it's not in good shape, what do? So think about it that way, And so I feel our people should just realize this is their calling. If it was not important, why do you go call them? You think you can just take them for it because it's just. If it's just, I've told some clients, I'm like, Chief, Sebi, they talk 30, make her talk 40. Sebi 40, do them then keep your money. With all respect, do it and keep your money. If it's really about the money. We love the things we do, that is why we do it. Do you see the expression when these arts are being expressed? Do you get my point? So I feel it's just a thing of respect and understanding. Sometimes we do not understand the things we do. Every single rhythm has a meaning. Every single drum stroke, every single bell stroke, every single motion, movement, expression has a meaning.
Yeah.
Do you get my point? If it was not nice, why would we want to place it as a front line, the first thing that any visitor coming in sees? And so let us show that value some respect. I feel when we do that, it will go a long way to serve us. Let me give you a nice example. We buy carvings, we buy paintings, we buy kente strips and give them to visitors because if you always speak so well of Ghana, so you cherish the product, what of the person who produces it? How much value do you place
on that person? Yeah.
Because without this person, you're not receiving that thing that you really gloat over, and you might not even know how it was made. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So I feel it's just us. Everything us is just downplayed. How should a person carry themselves? I know that you want the person to carry themselves in a very Western formal way.
As they say, bougie.
Thank you very much. In a Western formal way. That might not be exactly what you get. Let me give you a nice example. I've usually had this experience. I like to walk into events dressed with maybe my tee and my shorts. I want to see where my drum is placed, where this run my sound check. When I'm done,
you settle.
I change. So you meet people, maybe service providers, somebody's a waiter passing with a drink or something. You ask courteously, you get a very off expression. I'm like, okay, guys, give me 7 minutes. So I go in, I change, and I enter the scene. Oh, Nana.
The demeanor changes. Yeah.
You see, so we like to give recognition to plastic things. Not to say that if somebody has affluence, it's necessarily plastic.
Yeah.
But somebody can also put up that front just so you will give them whatever kind of treatment because you want to place them above you because they are dressed a certain kind of way or they are placed a certain kind of way or do a certain kind of job. When you go to a restaurant, who waits on you?
Yeah.
And you think that person is not important. What did they just bring? Food, sustenance, life. And so it's just us. Let's just show love. Let's just show respect.
We should be tolerant of each other and treat others as we would want to.
Of respect. Do you get my point? Yeah. So in my own small way, when business is coming, I prospect for business for these troops. I run a network of them, more than 6. I prospect for business for them. As much as possible, I try to be at their performances. As much as possible, I make sure that we have videos of some of these performances. So that if they need to speak any brofu, please, I have all the brofu you need in the world. Yeah. If they need to speak mathematics, which is beyond us, we look for people who speak the mathematics
that language,
that you need, the language that you speak best, and then we get them to you.
Sure.
And when it comes to the things that we do, you know that you can't take anything away from us. We give you the very best.
Awesome. I mean, let's touch on Asase inscription. So, I mean, through your dealings with these people and all the poetic justice you've been delivering, I'm sure that's how you identify the gap in that industry.
Yes.
Yeah, to go into this business.
Yes.
But so far, how has it been? What has been your favorite part of starting your own business?
Okay, so I've run Asase inscription since 2013.
Okay.
For a lot of it, I had a mobile office. My car was my office.
Your office?
Yes. My computer was my office. Sometimes I would work from home. Till recently, we got into this premises. My favorite part of running this is the creative bit.
Okay.
You know, what happens behind the scenes. I tell them most of the action takes place off stage before it happens on stage.
On stage.
So there's beauty in sitting back, strategizing, drawing up, how it looks like, getting on stage and seeing it play out. It's just so beautiful, knowing that we want to have this kind of effect on the audience and we are just getting the right effect we wanted to have on them. The satisfaction. So that when you're done, the person who invited you comes to say thank you. Once that is done, any other thing anybody else adds is a bonus.
Yeah.
Or really falls off.
Yeah.
Do you get my point? That is my favorite part. That satisfaction that you derive when somebody walks up and says, Nana, Asase, thank you. That's my favorite part. the satisfaction that I get, because sometimes it gets frustrating putting these performances together.
What are some of the biggest challenges you faced?
Charlie. Sarah, some of the greatest challenges you face is putting a team together.
Okay.
Finding the right people to work with. Because we're working with people, we're dealing with expression. Imagine you have, I'm trying to find a very relevant example to go with. We deal with time. Time is very crucial. When people know, touch anything, when you touch my time, we're not really in good times.
So you need a time-conscious person.
Time-conscious person. People, the event is at 6. By 4:30, our lineup needs to be ready. Sound checked, drums, everything on point. 4:30. So 4:30 needs to be 4:30. Sometimes you show up, the client, they might be late, but at least we made our 4:30 because that was the mark we gave to ourselves. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes you just need people to be honest with you. And yet the person can't be honest.
They can't.
So young man, young woman, my contemporary, I'm probably sending you on an errand in line with our business. I've run that errand 367 times. So I can tell you 365 reasons why the answer you're giving me is wrong.
It's wrong.
Or cannot be. Because I have done these things. I'm not sending you to do anything I have not done. Or anything I can't afford to do. I'm just affording space so that you fit into a value chain. So sometimes, dealing with people becomes the toughest thing. But let me say my biggest challenge has been myself. I feel I underwrite.
Okay.
I undercreate. I underperform every single time. I'm constantly looking to refine.
So that's some sort of imposter syndrome you're dealing with.
Look, I'm trying to deal with myself. I believe I can do so much more.
Okay.
I believe I can memorize so much more. I can employ language, in richer ways than I have done. Do you get my point? See, they said everybody is doing the same thing you're doing. How do you stand out?
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last performance. I don't want to cite any examples. You're only as good as your last performance.
Yeah.
So each performance deserves 101%.
You have to step up.
You look.
Break your own record.
Trust me, you can't drop the bar.
Yeah.
Because it's been repeat business for us. That's how we've survived these 11 years. It's been repeat business or recommendations from people you do not know. Because somebody saw your performance and recommended to another. Or you'd be surprised it might not even be your performance. Somebody just interacted with you and it was just your reception, the way you received them. That did the trick. So my biggest challenge has been me. I believe I could write more. I should have published a lot by now.
Yeah.
Of course, I've published in many ways via presentation or performance. It's also accepted as a mode of publishing. But in terms of books to be written, there's a lot of work to be put out there. So I feel I'm under par, really. There's so much for me to do. So I've been my biggest challenge.
And does that pressure pose a threat to your mental health?
Mental health.
I mean,
it's
beating yourself to do better, pushing so hard.
It can really weigh you down. It can really weigh you down when you have your sober moments of reflection, and you really want to go over the things you set out. Say 5 years ago, I said myself I should have hit this target by this time and all of that. If you do not take time,
it can mess you up a bit.
If you're a perfectionist, these things can really get to you. Sometimes, if you are one who is not content with, I love the little corner I have. I'm doing my best, knowing that the work will speak for itself.
Yeah.
People are in the habit of wanting to compare notes. Oh, Charlie, I started off with Samini. Wow, look at what she's doing. It should be me hitting this mark or me hitting that mark. Some people are not able to be genuinely happy for others. When you do that, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You develop too many conditions you're not supposed to develop. You think of things you're not supposed to be thinking about. Compare yourself with yourself. When
Who
you see
were yesterday.
somebody is doing something amazing, look, compliment it. If you can't learn from it, best bet, still like an artist. That is all we all do.
So that's how you deal with competition?
No. I'm in a league of my own.
Okay.
Sarah, what I've been called to do, I'm in a league of my own. Someone is in a league of their own. Someone is probably writing prose. But I feel I could use some prose ideas in my poetry. Why not? And trade some poetry ideas for prose. Why not? Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So I took away kind route, logoligi logarithms. Another route, anti-logo logarithms in response to it. Anti-logo logarithms had the base of logoligi logarithms to be relevant.
Yeah.
You know, or a read to somebody does a cover. It's a cover of an original. So there has to be an original for somebody to want to, you know, to imitate anything of the sort. Do you get my point? Yes. And so it's good to pick from other creators. Our sources of creative ideas, right, can be other people's works. We all listen to other people's songs of motivation. One person does not have it all. That's what I'm saying, we're unique in our own ways. But you see, it is when our uniquenesses come together that multiplicity, that is where the beauty is seen. That unity in us is seen. That is where we make impact. Do you get my point? That is the beauty. Collaborations, that is what our people should learn and realize. That is the way to forge ahead.
That process, moving from your mobile office, what you refer to as your car, to setting up this office, how did you financially prepare for this?
How did I financially prepare for this? Charlie, when I'm looking for anything, I go and ask for the price. When I see something I like it, I go and ask for the price. I go back and talk to the one who sent me to do this.
You talk to your God?
I don't talk to my God, I talk to God.
Okay.
There's only God.
Yeah, one God.
There's God. He sent me to do this.
Yeah.
I talk to him.
So that's your source.
This is what is coming.
Financial source.
He deals with times and seasons. I tell people my faith is bigger than my bank account, of course. Who pays a poet in Ghana, Sarah? I even asked who would allow their daughter to marry a poet in Ghana. Yeah. Well, somebody did.
Yeah.
You know, who pays a poet in Ghana?
Yeah.
You know, it's a big thing. But whatever you want to do, start small. Plan towards it. It's a gradual process. You know, and divine provision is just made when the timing is right. Look, when the timing is right, divine provision is made. Sarah, I need help. I come to you. Oh, Sarah, Nana, what do you need help with? Sarah, I want to buy a set of drums. How much will they cost? It costs 18,000 Ghana cedis. Do I expect you to carry 18,000 Ghana cedis and just give us? You won't even do that. If I came to you, Sarah, I need your help. Nana, what do you need? I need to buy drums. Sarah, they cost 18,000 Ghana cedis. But I have just about 13,000 Ghana cedis. You won't think twice. You give me the 5.
Yeah.
Because I've made some effort. You have seen some effort being made. What does that tell you? It means this person is serious.
You're serious about it.
Thank you very much. And then, you know, help will be given. And so I believe that whatever you choose to do, please take the step. You know, take that step too. You have to take the risk. Be bold. Just do it. Just do it.
And then divine provision.
Divine provision will be made.
Awesome.
Space from places you least expect, places you don't even expect. It might even be your own source, and you'll be surprised. How much do you get paid a month? Don't tell me. Check that, and check how much you spend a month.
It doesn't tally.
See, like we say, this life
we
with the
are
balance.
magicians,
The way we talk, say this life with the balance.
We are magicians, seriously.
Sarah, that equation
it never makes sense.
Let me say this in Chi. Monsieur Nyankopon fry sikem.
Yeah.
Nyankopon fry sikem. He always has a way. If you will be honest, that amount, the money they chop, Bosumi, versus what they earn, Bosumi, you know they tally.
At all.
You know why you go finish? You know they owe anybody to.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah. Divine provision.
Divine provision happens.
Yeah.
You know, divine provision happens. Divine provision is not just money. Having this interview is divine provision. Somebody is going to see this interview and say, let me get in touch with this person to do that for me. It was during Komla Dumas' funeral, the memorial that Multimedia had for him. There was a man, Mr. Crab, was watching all the way in Liberia. He started looking for me.
Okay.
Mr. Crab hunted all the way and when he got into Ghana, the man came to find me. He says, it was because of this that I came looking for you. So you never really know.
You just give your best shot.
Just give your best
every
shot.
Opportunity.
Take the opportunity. Start small. Start small. And you realize how it grows.
Sure.
You know? Yeah.
Tell me, how do you manage to stay attuned to all the emerging trends and technology that, I mean, day in, day out, new things are being developed. But as a poet, you need to imbibe all these in your delivery. How do you stay attuned to these things?
Make time. Make time. Spend you time. You need to spend a lot of me time. What do I mean by me time? When I'm done serving everybody else, I need a space where I'm with myself. That's where I also get to watch a bit of the kind of TV I want to watch. I can also pick my phone and go online and check what's going on in other parts of the world. What's going on in the poetry scene, what's going on in the writing scene, what's going on. There are relevant websites to the things we do. So you also know where to go and look. At least read some content that's going. Charlie, take your time. You're a regular everyday person. Why don't you spend regular everyday person time with yourself? Do you get my point? You need to be abreast of the news, things that are going on, the new music that are being made, the plays that are coming up, new people emerging. You should know what is going on. You should be on top of information because you are in the field and it's relevant to you. Otherwise, there's going to be a coup right behind your house because you don't listen. You wouldn't know what is going on.
Yeah.
2, you should have friends. Talk to people. When I'm not doing poetry, I'm talking to you. When I'm not doing poetry, I'm talking to people like IB.
Yeah.
I have friends all over.
Yeah.
In different spaces. So even if you've not heard, somebody calls, Charlie, have you heard XYZ? Have you spoken to XYZ? Have you done?
Yeah.
Do you get my friends? Some of my friends are fellow artists
Yeah.
in different fields, from actors to musicians to different people. So constantly we have conversations.
Yeah.
We have interactions. So definitely you get to hear some of these things that are going on. I like to try new things. I like to try new things, new recipes. So by
You're
new
a good
recipes,
cook like that,
not just food. Oh, I like to cook.
Oh, awesome.
At least my mother taught me well.
Okay.
I learned well. Beyond food. You'll be surprised. My favorite food, no be anything.
I know that one. Gary soaking.
Thank you very much. So what else you would think?
Yeah.
So Charlie, constantly you need to be abreast of what we do. For what we do, Charlie, you need to read.
Yeah.
Read. Listen to music. Watch movies. Watch cartoons. Watch a lot of cartoons. Watch a lot of cartoons.
What does that do for you?
It sheds a lot of creative energy.
Okay.
You see, children learn a lot when they are playing. Now, a soul is constant.
Yeah.
Check your realities. When you're a child, till now, the you, beyond you seeing that have you changed?
No, really.
Calm down. The you that was you, that remember the you.
That child is always hiding somewhere.
You see that it is still there.
Yeah.
So the soul is a constant.
Yeah.
That's the divine channel. It's a constant. Yes. So take note of some of these things.
That's true.
Yes.
There's always that inner child.
There is always that little you in there.
There's always
you will always be you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, considering all you do, I mean, it's linked to the creative industry, creative arts, and you've managed to leverage on your fame to, keep your business going. What the creative industry in this country?
Yeah.
What are your views about its current state and how things are going?
I have a problem with the word creative industry. It's too broad.
So I mean, there's a
and
ministry,
do we have a creative? Do we have a creative industry?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we have a creative industry.
Yeah.
But it's too broad.
Okay.
Shout out to all the cameramen who are videoing this. They are artists without realizing.
Yeah.
They are part of the creative industry.
Yeah.
Now, you realize there are a lot of bodies within the creative sector. So there's FIPAC, there's Poetry Association of Ghana, Actors Guild, so many. So it behoves on these small groupings to ensure that they press for proper leadership.
Yeah.
See, when we are pressing for leadership, we're always looking for some organ at the top, president do this, minister do this. But within our little associations, if these little bodies are not working well, when you feed them into the bigger mechanism, there will be malfunctions.
Yeah.
Because if the creative bus is moving and musica is malfunctioning, it means that the musica, what do you call it? The fuse. It's not working. So musica's fuse is off, which means there's something going awry, in the creative sector. So in our little corners, let's look at these things. In personal practice, let us pay attention to personal practice. Let's pay attention to finishing. Let's pay attention to things like detail. Do you get my point? Let's pay attention to the whole value chain. How does it look like? Because people are part of the creative sector. without necessarily being practicing artists or practicing creators. Somebody might be a business person, but he is functioning within that creative sector. Do we have structures that govern things? We're always fighting things like copyright. We're having unnecessary beefs.
Yeah.
The beef say we will take do soup or something. I don't know.
This is good for business.
Oh please, which kind of business?
The music business.
Okay, it's fine. Let them then let them see what is good for you, what works for you.
Wouldn't work for another.
Hold on to it. Let it work. Let us look at the kind of impact we want to make.
Okay.
I feel we're scattered. We're scattered. When you talk of the, in quotes, creative industry, people are thinking of film, fashion.
Yeah.
What's that all? Music.
There is music.
Essentially, beyond these three, people don't really think much of things like
There's
photography.
the spoken word.
People don't think of photography, you know, cinematography. People don't think of painting. People don't think of drumming. People don't think of these things. But these are essential parts.
The jewelers and all that.
People don't think of things like carvings, you know, sculpting, the crafts, the indigenous crafts that really made us as a people, West Africans, really well noted. People were noted goldsmiths, blacksmiths. Where are these? We don't even count them as art. We don't even count them as creativity. Weaving. When in the past people would come all the way from different parts of the continent just to buy cloth from here or beads from here. Okay, so there's so much potential untapped. Must we always have potential energy? Charlie, kinesis is good. Kinesis is good. Movement. Change, I say change is the only dynamic constant. So constantly we should be looking at how to improve upon the things we have done. But again, like I said, let's not forget the back without which there's no front. There are practitioners who have gone before. How do you hope to make progress when you just won't feel like, oh, Charlie is old school, drop it and let's go? No. For instance, High Life is ours. We are trying to get High Life enlisted as one of Ghana's intangible cultural heritages. You know, we're trying to enlist Kente as cultural heritage, you know, tangible. High Life as intangible. High Life is ours. How much High Life are we producing now? How much High Life are we producing now? As against techno beats.
You can't really boast of it.
As against techno beats.
And the Afro beats and the,
Afro has a base in High Life, but I mean, how much of what is ours are we producing?
We claim it's dying.
Charlie, we are killing it. If it's dying, they are. If it's really dying, then we are the ones killing, suffocating our own child at home. When we are done, we go stand in the market square and call people to come and help revive the child. And we are suffocating right here at home. My people, let me come to the doorstep of the media in that creative space. You're also creators. Thank you very much. Please, there's a lot of talent at home. Let us project them for free. The West makes their superstars, project them in their media space, and want to make news. Somebody buys a golden bra for his girlfriend. People, how does that benefit anybody this part of the world?
But some also like that kind of news.
Some also like, whichever way it is. They might not be artists or they might not be practitioners or whatever it is. But at the long run, let's look at the whole value chain. Look, whatever you're doing, realize that you're part of a system or you're part of a value chain from top to bottom. What benefit? What really is it accruing, you know, to all of us? Do you get my point? But you see, oh, this artist gets out there and does something fantastic. We talk about it 2-3 days, it fizzles out.
That's just it.
But things which are not really relevant to our system are the things we want to uphold. I don't want to give you a Ghana soccer example today. But within our art space, please, let's be proud of the things we have. Let's project our music. Let's project our poetry. Let's project our textiles and our foodways. We shouldn't wait for March to have Ghana month, Friday to have Ghana Friday or whatever it is. It's sad. We should have an everyday Ghana. See, Ghana morning, afternoon, evening, night. That's why I deliberately would wear cloth or smoke every single day. If you see me wear any of these things, typically it wouldn't have any designers name on it. You know, it's been smokes from the when to when, or friends and Kente from a power of them. Because these are the things that make us as people. I have lots of ahinima because these are the things. It has medicinal value. People do not know. Now people are trying to put cushions and different things in them. Fine, innovation and all of that, but the original, the way it was made, had its own meaning. Let us find out what it is. See, if you do not know the rules, you don't know how to bend it safely.
So if you were to be made a minister for
If
us,
you're deputy.
you're the deputy. What will you do? I mean, for the tourism
if
action.
I could influence policy.
Yeah.
Then make me president first. Then we'll talk about that. Make me president first.
Be a president for.
Thank you. If I was president, I would enter, parliament and see how we're able to draw all the buttons down. You're good.
I mean, the whole
Commission on Culture, Ministry of
all the agencies and everything.
Actually, freeze all of them.
Yeah.
Take your time and put one body together. Ministry, if it's a Ministry of Tourism, let's have a Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
If it's a Ministry of Arts and Culture or Cultural Affairs, let's put that together. They can be two separate entities. Do you get my point? If it's one entity, let's make sure it's operating as one entity. Otherwise, tourism is gaining to the deficit of, the arts and culture. Yet, these tourists coming, what is the tourism without the...
Interconnected. One can't, do without the other.
And this battle with Commission on Culture versus the ministry, I don't want to wade into all that politics. There's too much replication on roles, people. When the system can just be so fluid. So if I was president, that's what I would do. Now, plug me into minister or deputy.
The deputy.
Minister and son and deputy.
Yeah.
Which one first?
The minister comes first.
If I was a minister. If I was a minister of tourism, what would I do?
Yeah.
Okay. I would see to it that I'll make promises I can keep.
Okay.
First and foremost. Set realistic targets. Do you get my point? As a poet, I told you, shall I have a show on this day? I would deliver. Which simply means I made a promise and I've kept it.
Yeah, you kept it.
Right. Now, I'll go back and look at indigenous ways of architecture, for instance. I'll bring together, crop of creators, your Ejakunimos, those guys who are, put together a very solid national body of the East Culture. Set up a fantastic academy. People from different parts of the continent would come to the center of the world to learn. If it's music, they are coming down. If it's painting, they are coming down. If it's architecture, they are coming down. Now, how do we use these local materials, right, to change our landscapes? To change our landscapes. Because I say, look, the arts really hold the basis for science and whichever other sector there is. Architecture really comes in from us. At Akpame buildings, what is the science behind all these laterite arts? Those are some of the coolest places you could ever
considering our climate and everything.
Professor Francis Kerry, Burkina Faso, he's used these, laterite stuff to build strong structures. How can we explore things like this? Our tourist destinations, honest,
very bad.
Deliberate investment. The agri people are looking at feeder routes. We're also looking at tourist routes. Some of these tourist sites, Then when we get to these tourist posts, there are spaces, offices and all of that. Can we get these places running properly? 3, let's look at narratives. What stories do we tell people when they go to these spaces? I once went to the Tekwashi Cocoa Farm. I'm a tour guide when I had the time. Tekwashi Cocoa Farm. The moment he started his narration, Tekwashi smuggled cocoa to Ghana, I was like, young man, please hold it right there. Actually, I had to do it openly. I couldn't hold it anymore. Tekwashi did what? And all the gold they carried from here to whichever part of the world, they took it.
They took it.
Please, go
representation
and
even,
and look.
How we communicate.
We produce the best cocoa in the world. And you are showing these tourists practically how the preservation process is done. Are you not just selling our trade secrets right there in the open? Let's have some mystique. Mystique would be my 4th element to deal with. In these tourist centers, let's have some mystique. That is why the foreigners keep coming for our festivals. Look at these rituals. He's been allowed to capture this, but this has been hidden. He's hoping that next time, a little more shift will be given to him. So he keeps coming back. Let us play on elements like that. Let's look at the indigenous crafts once more. Let's see. These are things that really sell us. These are things that sell. Countries like Kenya are so big on these crafts. Let's look at the things that are unique to us and sell us. Let's come big on these things. Let us look at, liaise with Ministry of Education. Let's look at our languages. Let us look at our languages.
What's being taught in schools?
What is being taught as art, even. So if I was minister, these are some things I'd really pay attention to. And then I'll delve into the issue of copyright. Now, that would still mean collaboration. Let's get in touch with our legal brains.
Yeah.
Brains need to go on the other. Legal needs to go on the other. So we'll get in touch with our legal brains now.
Yeah.
Let them streamline Ghana's copyright structure
Yeah.
and see how it plugs into WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization. All these things. Regulate bodies like GAMRO and see how we can set up bodies like GAMRO, which is doing its best for musicians.
It doesn't even have a license now. I think the last
Maybe
time I checked.
very fine. Let's see how we can replicate this policy for maybe people who run cultural troops. Let's see how we can do it for people who are into camera, cinematography. Let's make sure that we are in groups. That's what I was talking about, these bodies being well organized and well recognized. So the government support is not just money. We have a grant of this, you assess it, and we're not able to follow up and track what is really going down. Now, if I was Deputy Minister of Tourism, guys, then I told the whole of Ghana, it's important to see and know. So once you see, you experience its foodways, people, let's document.
Yeah.
Let's document. We have fantastic filmmakers in Ghana.
Yeah.
Let's document. We have fantastic musicians. Let's make music about Ghana. We have fantastic poets. Let's write about Ghana. And let's put it out. Let's put these things out on official websites. Look, let's make films about Ghana. I've yet to see a Ghanaian movie, a proper Ghanaian movie,
telling the Ghanaian story,
which is beating Ghanaian drums at a Ghanaian festival, properly staged.
But all these need some sort of investment.
Definitely, they need investment. So attracting the right kind of investments are also another thing.
And there's this whole thing about sponsorship or investment from the corporate side, where corporate bodies are not really seeing the vision or buying into that.
Emphasize Ghanaian corporates.
Exactly.
When you cross over to Nigeria,
no, we are talking Ghana.
I'm giving you a nice example. When you cross over to Nigeria, they are multinationals, but they are Nigerians working in these multinationals. Those Nigerians working in those multinationals realize the power of the art, and so they help to push their local artists. Here, once they get behind the corporate high wall, sorry, at this time we can't deal with this, and we need to observe it. That's okay. To the detriment of the greater good.
Yeah.
Rules are made for people. People are not made for rules.
So they can be broken?
Not broken. They can be amended.
Tweaked.
They can be, definitely. Somebody calls the shots.
Yeah.
Somebody pushes the button. Let there be light. Somebody pushed the button. I know him. I'll tell you later. So it takes people to make these things happen. Do you get my point? So please let us, our corporates, there are Ghanaians working in very reputable places who have the power, who have the means. Now they want to cloud it with a corporate direction, and we don't do this and we don't support that. Charlie, the brother no, they help you. No. Yet, when they have all their events, they need all these artists, same artists. They need all these crafts to give us gifts to their people. Yeah. So what business now do you have patronizing those things to give to people to take away, when you cannot help to keep these invest, keep these things
businesses afloat.
Yes. So if I was Minister of Tourism as well, I'll look into art schools. I know there's something coming up, but a lot more. Art schools which are not even academic. Indigenous art schools which are not even academic. I would identify key guys who are doing things, from the various regions. Build tourism. When I need tourism ambassadors, sorry. Our footballers are doing great, but I won't have a footballer as my tourism ambassador, as my cultural ambassador. Maybe a tourism ambassador just to draw people to the destination. But you need cultural ambassadors who promote education on, our culture and really what it is. Right. Well, in a little while, our inscriptions will be paid to re-Ghanaianize a lot of people. I believe so. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what's that philosophy you live by?
Philosophy. Depends on the part of life we're talking about.
So your business? My
business. Like I told you, every stage deserves 101% because you're only as good as your last performance.
Okay.
That is what you're remembered for.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last performance.
Who are the people who inspire you when it comes to business?
When it comes to the likes of Ambassador Edward Boateng,
of
Global Media Likes. Look, We used to call him Mr. CNN or that about. We used to call that about behind his back, but he knew about it. You know, he has this calm demeanor in the face of no matter what the situation is. He has a very calm demeanor. You should meet Joel Nete. Have you met Joel?
Yeah.
You met Joel. Joel has this overpowering calm. At the same time, guy is giving pressure and giving fire. He's done well for himself because they've built these things of good interpersonal relationships. Do you get my point? They know that people make the businesses thrive. And so what do? They open up to people and they do some of these things. There are some negotiations I will never get into. There are people who need to get into those negotiations on our behalf, just to ensure that we are not shooting not just ourselves, but people who are coming after us in the foot.
Any new projects we should look forward to?
Any new projects? So we have the 7th edition of the Mental Pictures series coming up. You know, Mental Pictures is an annual thing that we run. This is the 7th edition. And it's entitled Bejina.
Bejina,
the child who will stay.
Okay.
It's coming off on the 24th of November.
Oh,
that's
very much.
Next week, Friday.
Next week, yeah.
Yes, at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, right there on the lawns. I want to give you a Ghanaian immersion. So Bejina is simply about, you realize when women would give birth and they keep dying, they have that one child who is planted, who stays.
Yeah.
Right? We believe we need to cross 7 rivers of life. When you've crossed 10, you've crossed 1.
Okay.
After 10, literally, sort of fish, you die. And you are assessed to check whether he's fit to come back. So when you hit 11, it's a start over. This is our 11th year.
Awesome.
A start over. Bejina, the child who will stay after crossing the first, is proving himself worthy, you know, to be given the nod to continue. We're looking at the element of birth in various Ghanaian, you know, cultural groupings. We always have our local bar.
Yeah.
You can enjoy. You have some beautiful Ghanaian music, and you'll be surprised by some dances you never even knew existed. It's also a very fantastic platform for networking. It's open to diasporans, it's open to Ghanaians, to everybody. Look, it's an official listed 10 event and Accra World Book Capital event as well. So please, you get a ticket at the gate too. 100 Ghana cedis single, 180 couple tickets. If you want to get a ticket in advance, can I put a number out?
Sure, you can.
Okay, so 0264 588865. 0264 588865. Her name is Araba. Araba will answer you. You can reserve your ticket ahead of time. Please don't miss her.
Bejina.
Bejina.
We'll be there.
It'll be good to have you there.
I'll definitely be there. I mean, it's always a good time seeing you perform, and there's always something to take home from that. So I'm looking forward to that one.
And we have the pressure of delivering to your pleasure.
I know, right?
Everything has to be a rhyme like that.
Yeah. I've enjoyed my time spending time with you today.
Sarah.
Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for making time for this to happen.
Thank you for having
I really
us.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having
And a big thank you to you for doing the watching. But till I come your way same time next week, my name is Amele Josu and this is Celeb Biz. Stay safe and be blessed.